Unearthing an ancient chain from the soil, a curious individual tugs at it only to uncover a startling revelation. The leaden sky over Pembrokeshire mirrored Mike's mood as he trudged through the waterlogged fields. His usual metal detecting spot was flooded, forcing him to explore unfamiliar terrain. The steady drizzle had just begun to seep into his bones when his detector suddenly let out an insistent beep. Years of experience told Mike this wasn't the typical aluminum can or loose change. The signal was strong, urgent. Heartbeat quickening, he knelt in the mud and began to dig. His trowel soon struck metal. Brushing away sodden earth, Mike uncovered a thick, rusted chain. Its links were massive and worn smooth by time, far older than anything he'd expect in these parts. Tugging gently, he found it firmly lodged in the ground. "What the hell?" he muttered, continuing to excavate. The chain vanished into the earth, hinting at something substantial buried deep below. Mike's curiosity blazed. Whatever this chain was attached to, it had lain hidden for centuries. Gripping the cold metal with both hands, he pulled hard. The chain didn't budge. Mike sat back on his heels, rain streaming down his face, pulse throbbing in his ears. What secret lay beneath the Pembrokeshire soil, stubbornly clinging to its ancient mystery? Mike's determination outweighed his exhaustion. He dug tirelessly around the chain, uncovering link after rusted link, each one hinting at centuries buried beneath the Pembrokeshire soil. The rain persisted, but Mike barely noticed, his mind awash with visions of pirate treasures and medieval artifacts. As daylight waned, Mike realized he'd made little progress. The chain seemed endless, burrowing ever deeper into the earth. His muscles screamed in protest, yet the tantalizing mystery kept him going until the encroaching darkness forced him to admit defeat, for now. "I'll be back," he promised the partially reburied chain before reluctantly heading home. Sleep eluded Mike that night. His mind raced with theories about what lay at the chain's end. By dawn, curiosity had overwhelmed caution. He had to know. The next morning brought clearer skies but sodden ground. Mike's boots squelched through the mud as he returned to the site, heart pounding. The chain waited just as he'd left it, a metallic thread connecting the present to an enigmatic past. Mike dove back into his task with renewed vigor. For hours he dug tirelessly, the chain seeming to taunt him as it stretched ever deeper into the earth. His persistence finally paid off when his trowel struck something solid. Heart racing, Mike brushed away the mud to reveal a large, flat metal surface. As he cleared more dirt, the outline of an enormous chest emerged, securely bound by the rusted chain. Its size and weight far exceeded his expectations, leaving him breathless with anticipation. His fingers trembled as they traced the ancient metal. What treasures might this chest hold? Gold? Relics? Something beyond imagination? The possibilities were intoxicating. However, excitement gave way to frustration as Mike realized he couldn't budge the chest alone. It was simply too massive. Standing over his discovery, a mix of elation and anxiety washed over him. This wasn't just another find. It was potentially a piece of history buried for centuries, waiting for him to unveil its secrets. But he couldn't do it by himself. The magnitude of the discovery demanded assistance. Mike knew he needed help to unearth whatever lay within this mysterious chained chest. Mike hesitated, phone in hand. Who should he call about this discovery? The police? The museum? This was beyond his expertise, but he needed the right help. He dialed the local authorities, explaining his find. The officer initially sounded skeptical, as if suspecting a prank. But when Mike described the massive chest and its ancient chain, the officer's tone shifted. He instructed Mike to stay put and await their arrival. As he paced the field, Mike's excitement morphed into unease. What lay inside the chest? Treasure or something more ominous? Finally, a group of officers arrived, accompanied by archaeologists from the National Museum of Wales. Mike felt relieved. These were the right people to unravel this mystery. "This is remarkable," one archaeologist murmured, examining the chest. "I've never seen anything like this." The team began carefully excavating around the chest. Mike watched in tense silence, his heart racing. The moment of truth was at hand. As the archaeologists pressed on with their excavation, a strange sensation began to creep over Mike, an inexplicable discomfort, as though something was off. The thrill he'd felt earlier was quickly evaporating, replaced by an unsettling tension. He couldn't quite understand why, but the deeper they dug, the more his excitement shifted to dread. What exactly had they stumbled upon? Theories flew among the team as they uncovered the chest. Some believed it might hold ancient Celtic relics, hidden away during times of conflict. Others speculated it could be remnants of a long-forgotten smuggling ring, concealed deep in the Pembrokeshire countryside to avoid prying eyes. But then one of the archaeologists offered a theory that made Mike's skin crawl. "What if this is cursed?" he suggested, his voice barely audible. "What if it was buried to be forgotten, meant never to be found?" A tense silence fell over the group, and Mike's unease grew. A cursed object? The idea seemed far-fetched, but it clung to his thoughts, refusing to fade. What if the chest wasn't merely sealed to protect its contents? What if it was to keep something dangerous locked away? The heavy chain wrapped so tightly around it now felt less like a security measure and more like a warning. Mike swallowed hard, his mouth suddenly dry. The excitement that had gripped him earlier was now completely replaced by a gnawing fear. He had discovered something extraordinary, but now he wasn't so sure he wanted to know what lay inside. As the last rays of daylight faded, the archaeologists brushed away the final layers of soil, revealing the chest in full. The rusted lock had long since disintegrated, and the chain was carefully removed. Mike stood, his heart pounding in his chest, as two team members gripped the lid and slowly pried it open. The creaking sound as it gave way felt like an echo from another time. For a moment they all froze. Inside the chest lay an astonishing array of bronze and gold, intricately designed and undeniably ancient. Mike's breath caught. It was a treasure, a genuine relic of the past. But then his eyes landed on something else, something that sent a shiver down his spine. Beneath the glittering artifacts, carefully arranged, were human bones, aged and decayed, yet unmistakably the remains of a person. A skull, ribs, arms, all laid to rest alongside the treasure. The truth hit Mike like a blow. This wasn't just a chest, it was a grave. An ancient burial site, likely that of a Celtic leader or warrior. The heavy chain had once been part of a ceremonial chariot, buried with the deceased, a person of great importance entombed with their wealth. Mike staggered back, his mind racing. This was far more than he had bargained for. Why had the grave been buried so deep, and why so securely chained? The archaeologists theorized that it was a ritualistic burial, perhaps meant to keep the dead in their place, or to guard the living from the power of whatever was buried with them. In the days that followed, word of Mike's discovery spread like wildfire. The once quiet field in Pembrokeshire became a hub of archaeological fascination, with historians and researchers descending on the site to examine the relics and remains. The chest, along with the ancient chain and bones, were meticulously documented and sent to the National Museum of Wales for further study. But despite the excitement surrounding the find, Mike couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that lingered in the pit of his stomach. What should have been a moment of triumph felt more like a violation. It was as if he had unearthed something that was never meant to see the light of day. Standing in the now deserted field, watching the last of the archaeologists pack up their gear, Mike felt a cold shiver race down his spine. The wind seemed to whisper through the trees, carrying with it the weight of secrets long buried. Mike had always been drawn to history, captivated by stories of the past. Yet now, as he stood on the very ground where his discovery had been made, he began to understand that not all history should be uncovered. Some things are best left undisturbed. As dusk settled in, casting eerie shadows across the field, Mike couldn't help but wonder what other forgotten relics lay hidden beneath the earth, waiting for the right or wrong moment to be found. What an incredible story of discovery. Have you ever stumbled upon something remarkable like this? How would you have reacted in Mike's place? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.